Okay, all right. So we were talking about these past paper questions related to trigonometry, and we were done with this one. Then we discussed this question. Then there was this inequality part, and we were done with these three parts of the first question. Okay, this is the next question we talk about. So let's get started. Okay, this is the second part of this paper. There would be some question, and that's the second part. This is the paper code and everything. You can just note it down. Okay, so here is the
Just can
question.
number.
Sorry, say it again.
Just can you tell the question number? It's part B of what?
Yeah, 1 second. I will have to check. Give me 1 minute. It's question number 7. Question number 7, part B. Okay. Acha. The question says, the diagram shows the graphs of y equals sine x and y equals 2 cos x for the interval is given, students, and this time around it is in radians. So we are confident about it, and there's no need to get scared at, oh my god, why is it in pi? It's in radians. That is it. Minus pi to pi means what? Minus pi to pi means what in degrees?
Minus 180 to 180.
Very good. Okay. This is why they have made this part of the graph as well. Okay. This is 0. Then when we start off, this is pi, and then they've also made the graph on the left hand side. So that is it. We are confident about it. Okay. Acha, it says the graph intersects at the points A and B. Find the x coordinate of A. Okay. Let's understand the situation now. Acha, where is A? This is A. And you have been asked to find the x coordinate of A. So we have two curves. The equation of the first curve is y equals sine x. The equation of the second curve is 2 cos x. We need to just solve them and find the value of x and y. Okay, so for A, for the first part, we need the x coordinate of A, and for the second part, we would be finding out the y coordinate of B. Okay, whatever it is, end goal is to find this point A and point B, and then we'll just take out x and y coordinates. That is fine. We can do that. Okay. Now, how do I exactly solve this? So it's simple, right? We need to equate both the equations.
Yeah.
Why do I equate? Because I know in O levels, when we had two lines and when they were intersecting at a point, we used to have two equations and we used to solve those two equations simultaneously. So think about y equals sine x and y equals 2 cos x as two simultaneous equations, right? What I can do is I'll directly just equate both the equations. So sine x is basically equal to 2 cos x. And again, I've always told you, whenever you've been asked to solve any trigonometric equation, the goal is to have one trigonometric function in that very equation. For now, I have two trigonometric functions. I have sine and cos. Okay, I need to have one trigonometric function. So what do? I'll just take this cos x on the other side, and this is going to give me sine x divided by cos x equals 2. Right. So what is sine by cos?
Tan.
Very good. Okay. So this was something that I told you guys to remember. This is tan x equals 2. Now, this is the point where we are done with the equation, and now we need to refer to the other parts. That is more important. Okay. So whenever we get a trigonometric equation with one trigonometric function, the next thing is to think about the graphs. Okay, this is all positive. Then we have sine positive. Then we have tan positive, and then we have cos positive. Okay, Can anyone tell me which quadrant should I look at for this part?
Quadrant 1 and 3.
Very good. And Mutasam, can you tell me why? Yes, Mutasam?
Miss, because I think he said 1 and 3.
Yes. Hmm.
Miss, because it's only positive at these quadrants.
Very good. Excellent. Yes, that is 100% correct. Okay. Tan is positive too. So tan is positive. So that is only, this can only happen when we have the first quadrant and the third quadrant. Okay. Acha. The next thing is we need to find the basic angle. How do we find the basic angle? By using this equation. Okay. Let me just bring my calculator in 1 second and then you guys can do your working.
Okay.
Okay. So we need to find the value of basic angle. How? First of all, I'm pretty sure if you guys were doing some other, like you used your calculators for some other purpose, they would be in degrees mode, right? So just convert the mode to radians first because you can see that the interval was in radians. And now I'll just do tan inverse 2. And this is going to give me 1.107. 1.107 radians. Okay, this is my basic angle or alpha, and this is the angle in the first quadrant as well. So it is both. Acha, now I'll start off from here and I'll come all the way here. And how do I find this? It is going to be pi plus alpha,
1.
and this, since it is pi plus alpha, so it's very clear that it is not lying in our range. Okay, our range is from minus pi to pi. So since a was between 0 and pi and the x coordinate has turned out to be 1.11 radians. Okay, let me just explain this again. So basically this was the equation. We know it would be either in the first quadrant or third quadrant. For the third quadrant, it is pi plus alpha. Alpha is 1.1. When you will do pi plus something, you would get out from this interval, right? A is between 0 and pi. So the only possibility for A is 1.11 radians. That is why I've answered the first part of the question. I've answered it with the x coordinate of A. Any confusions with the first part? Tell me.
No, miss.
Okay, Motasam and Munja, anything that is coming to your mind?
No, miss, thank you.
Motasam, do you have any questions? No? Okay.
Yes.
Acha, okay. The second part of the question was find the y coordinate of B. Okay. You need to find out the y coordinate of B. Now, this is something very, very important, something that we have discussed in classes, but we did not get a chance to practice. And here it is. This is the point, and you need to find the y coordinate. So we first need to find the point and then we can find the y coordinate. Acha. Again, the two equations are same. Sin x is equal to 2 cos x. The two equations are same. And at the end, again, when I would simplify, I am going to get tan x equals 2. But what is the thing? The thing is, okay, this time around, when I will make my quadrants, this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. Again, tan is positive, right? But for this part, look at it. Every time before this question, whenever we were doing some book example, some past paper question, if I was solving some queries for you guys, every time we were only focusing on this part. Okay, so you did not come across this situation before. So Just relax, understand it fully, and then we'll see if you were able to understand it or not. Okay. What is the thing? The thing is that we have been dealing with angles which were greater than 0. Okay. This time around, we have angle from 0 to minus pi. So I've told you guys, where exactly is minus pi coming from? I've told you, if we are going in the anti-clockwise direction, angle is positive. And if we are going in the clockwise direction, angle is negative. This was discussed in the second class. Okay. So through this idea, I've told you, positive and negative is just there to define the direction. So when I used to say pi, this was 0, this was pi by 2, and this was pi. Why? Because I was going from here to here. Now, how exactly would be minus pi? Minus pi would be if I start off from this point and I go all the way from there to here. So the only thing that we need to talk about, that we need to understand, is the direction for the negative angles. Okay, those who are taking physics would be knowing we have vector quantities, and in vector quantities, sign is there just to define direction. So it's 0 to minus pi. This is 0. If I'll start at this point, if I go till here, this is going to be minus pi. Okay, and again, all the ideas are same. Here we have all positive, here we have sine positive, here we have tan positive, and here we have cos positive, right? The idea is still the same. It's just the quadrants are different. So this time around, I need to focus on the third and fourth quadrants, and the angle is going to be in this direction. Okay. Acha. Okay. Now, how do I find angle in this case? Again, the idea is very same. This is going to be the angle in the fourth quadrant when your theta is negative. Okay. And for the third quadrant, I'm going to start from here and I'll end at this point. So what is the basic thing? The basic thing is I need to have alpha. Alpha is same. Alpha is going to be same. Okay, because the equation is same. Alpha is going to be 1.11 radians. But since we are going in the clockwise direction, so I will write it down as minus 1.11. Similarly, now please pay attention, look at it very, very carefully. I need to find the pink angle, okay? This alpha is also 1.11 radian. So how do I do? Let's keep things simple. I'll just do it this way. It's pi, okay? It's pi minus 1.11. Or let's do it this way, pi minus 1.107, because this was the angle originally. Okay, this is the value of x. Okay, I got 2.035 radians, and again it is going to be negative. Okay, listen to me. Okay, just listen to me. By looking at the graph, I was able to see that if I look at point B, B is basically between 0 and negative pi. Okay, so for 0 and negative pi, I know that things would be opposite, opposite, and opposite. I just made third and fourth quadrants. Alpha is going to be same. Even the method of finding angles is the same. It's just the basic geometry rules that we follow. Okay, the only difference is that this is going to be negative because the direction is negative. But this is not the answer, because this is just giving you the value of x. This is x. You were asked to find out y coordinate of P. Okay. So you need to find this out, and you have this. It's minus 2.035 0.035. What you can do is just use any equation. Either you can use sine x or 2 cos x and then just plug in the value. So sine answer is going to give you, just press sine and then minus 2.035. This would give you positive 0.89. Okay, because this is, one second, this has this, when you will plug in sine, negative 2.035, this would give you positive 0.8943 and so on, right? But it is not going to be positive. We know that it is going to be negative because of the y-axis. I can see that it is coming under 0, right? It is on the negative y-axis. So the answer is going to be minus 0.89. And this is the correct answer. So 0.894. Okay, 3 significant figures is good. So negative 0.894 is basically going to be your y coordinate. Yes, and any confusions with this?
Miss, like we found the coordinate of A, that is 1.07. Okay. And the coordinate of B will be, just wait a second.
Yeah, this is negative. This, even the calculator would give you negative value. Okay, yes. Now tell me, sorry, I was doing something.
Miss, the coordinate of A is going to be 1.017 and the coordinate of B is negative 2.035.
Yeah, basically for
So-
A, we were supposed to find out the x coordinate, and for B, it is the y coordinate. Okay, that is the difference.
Miss, but how did we find the value of the B one, like the x coordinate of?
The
How
x
did we determine
coordinate. How did we determine what?
the quadrant? Which
Yes.
quadrant we should be choosing?
Yes. I'll tell you. That's a good question. Okay. So by looking at the graph, I was able to see that B is lying over here. Okay. This was B. Now, where exactly is this? It is between 0 and minus pi. This is 0 and this is minus pi. Okay. So I know that for 0 and minus pi, the quadrants are going to be the fourth quadrant and the third quadrant. How did I know this? Because for negative angles, if you have 0 and pi, these two would have been the quadrants, right? But the issue is that when we have negative angles, we don't measure angle in the anti-clockwise direction. We go in the clockwise direction. So that was the difference. And this is why when I started from 0, and when I went all the way to minus pi, I knew that I would be covering the fourth and third quadrants. Okay, let's say if I had 0 to pi by 2. In that case, I would have considered this. But let's say if I had minus pi by 2 x to pi by 2. Now what is happening here? X is between minus pi by 2 and pi by 2. Okay. First of all, let's do it from x to pi by 2. From x to pi by 2, we have it over here. This is from x to pi by 2. And for this part, I will basically be considering the clockwise direction. So this is going to be from x to negative pi by 2. Okay. So every time when I have such intervals, I need to think about these intervals this way, that if the angle is positive, I'll just go from the starting point in the anti-clockwise direction. And I know this already. This is pi by 2. This, one second. Let me just erase this, because over here, if I write too much stuff, I would not be able to explain. And let me just make it over here. Okay. So what we know is, we have already been dealing with the negative with the positive angle. So let's talk about negative. It's 0. Then it is negative pi by 2. it is pi, it is negative 3 pi by 2, and then it is negative 2 pi. Okay, because I am going in this direction, because I went in the clockwise direction. But obviously, if I talk about the positive angle, so this is 0, this is pi by 2, this is pi, this one was negative pi, this is going to be 3 pi by 2, and this is going to be 2 pi. Why? Because for this, I'll start from here and I will go in the anti-clockwise direction, right? So this is the only thing. Negative angle means clockwise direction, and positive angle means anti-clockwise direction. This is the only thing that we need to understand. Okay, Rafa, is it okay now?
Yes, miss.
Okay, any other question? Mutasam, Rafe, Munja, you guys can ask me.
No, miss.
Okay.
Ma'am, you
yes.
could also find the B coordinate by
Hmm.
since we know that our B is in the negative so you can I mean we had already find our A the coordinate of A, the X coordinate, which is 1.1. So you have minus pi, you can say minus pi plus 1.11, and it will give you minus 2.034.
Yes, that is correct. Certainly, you can also do it that way. Yes, directly as well. Yes, you are right. You can also do it that way. But since using quadrants, we would just have one method. But you can do it that way as well. That is also fine. You're correct. Okay, you're right. Okay. All right. So I think we are good with this, and I'll share these questions as well. So don't worry. Let's talk about the next one. Okay. This is the fourth question. Like this is the third question, but it's basically the fourth question of this paper. Okay. All right. So question number 4 of this exam says, functions f and g are defined by f of x is 2 minus 3 cos x, and this is your interval. Look, it's again from 0 to 2 pi. It means 0 to 360. And g of x is 1 by 2x, okay? And again, it is from 0 to 2 pi. Okay. Solve the equation f of g of x equals 1. This is what we need to solve. Okay, first of all, let's calculate this composite function. It's f of g of x, and that is basically going to be, what is f of x? It's 2 minus 3 cos, and instead of x, I need to write down g of x, that is 1 by 2x. And this thing, very good, is basically equal to 1. So let's just do some simplification. This is going to be minus 3, 1 by 2, sorry, what have I done? Minus 3 cos 1 by 2x is equal to 1 minus 2. Cos 1 by 2x is going to be 1 minus 2 would give you minus 1 divided by, I'll take this negative 3 on the other side, and this is going to give me 1 by 3. So what do I have? At this point, I have 1 by 2x is basically equal to, or let's write it down this way for you guys, okay? Cos 1 by 2x is basically equal to 1 by 3. Okay. Acha. Again, the difference is we have done a question of similar type in the past. Instead of having theta or x, I have 1 by 2x. That is fine. How do we do such questions? So first, I am going to find the value of this entire thing, and then I'll just make x the subject, and that would give me the value of x, because the variable is x. So always remember, you need to find the value of the variable, okay, not theta, the value of the variable. Okay, theta is 1 by 2x over here. All right, so how do we do it? Again, you need to think about quadrants, and then this is how we will do it. So cos is positive. Can anyone tell me what quadrants would I be dealing with?
First and last.
Very good. All positive, sine positive, tan positive, and then we have cos positive. And no need to worry about negative and positive angles. We only have from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, so it is going to be the first quadrant, and it is going to be this quadrant. अच्छा, सबसे पहले तो we need to find the value of alpha, that is basic angle. So for that, your calculators would already be in radians mode because of the previous question. Just do cos inverse 1 divided by 3. And this would give you 1.231 radians. 1.231 radians. This is also going to be same, this one. This is also going to be 1.231 radians. So how do we find angle in the fourth quadrant? I'll start from here and I'll stop at this point, and it is going to be 360 minus 1.231. No, it would be 2 pi minus this answer. Okay, and that is going to give you 5.05 radians. Okay, 1 second only. Yes, okay. This is what I got, okay. Now these are the two values for 1 by 2x, okay. So this is telling me that 1 by 2x is basically equal to 1.231, and it is equal to 5.05 radians. The question was to solve the equation, and this is the final equation. And always remember, we need to find the value of the variable. The variable is x. How do I find the value of x? By multiplying everything with 2. So x is going to be 1.231 into 2, and that would give you 2.46. And the other value is going to be 5.05 multiplied by 2 again, that would be 10.1. Okay, so finally we know all the possible values, but now we need to look at the interval. The interval for x is from 0 to 2 pi, right? X is basically from 0 to 2 pi. So I am not going to consider this because this is outside the interval, and this is going to be the only answer. Yes, is it okay?
Yes, miss.
Motasam and Munja, any confusions with this?
No,
No,
ma'am.
miss.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Let's talk about the last part of this question. Sketch the graph of y equals f of x. What was f of x? It is 2 minus 3 cos x. And the interval is from 0 to 2 pi. Let me just double check if I've written everything correctly. 2 minus 3 cos x, and that is the double. Yes. Okay. Acha. Now you've been asked to plot this. Now, we know how to make cos x, but we don't know how to make 2 minus 3 cos x, right? So, but we can see that they have just used stretch and translation over here to modify the function, and we know how to deal with that, okay? So let's think about it this way. I'm just going to make the basic shape over here on this side. This is how cos is. That point is 1. Minimum point is -1. It's ending at 2 pi. Center value is pi. This one is 3 pi. Oh, sorry. This one is pi by 2. And this is 3 pi by 2. This is just the basic stuff about cos, okay, which I'm pretty sure you guys would be knowing already. But let's talk about the main graph now. Okay. What would happen when I multiply this thing with -3? Minus is going to cause reflection. And because of that reflection, the basic shape now is going to be something of this type, okay? And we have 3 as well. So this 3 is going to cause a stretch along the y-axis. So things are going to genuinely stretch. So what would happen? I am just going to make one graph directly instead of making a graph again and again. Okay, I cannot make a graph better than this. So this is 3. This is -3. And I am done with the graph of -3 cos x. Okay. This is the graph of cos x. But I know that I was not asked to make the graph of cos x. I was basically asked to make the graph of 2 minus 3 cos x. So first of all, I made the graph of -3 cos x. Minus has caused reflection and 3 has just stretched everything, okay? And again, the intercepts are going to be same. Like this is 2 pi, and these are the intercepts. It's going to be pi by 2. This one is going to be 3 pi by 2. And this is going to be pi, and this is 0. Okay, but we are not done yet. We need to add this 2 to the function, okay? We have added this +2. What happens when we add something to the function?
2 units up.
Very good, excellent. As simple as Rafi said, okay? Imagine that you can pick this, you can hold this graph, and you will just hold this graph and take it 2 units above. So what would happen? This point that is at -3 right now would basically move to -1. And this point that was basically at 3 is going to move to 5. Okay, so 2 units up. So I am not going to make this. I'll make my graph again. And this is going to give me I'll change the, let me erase them as well. Okay, the maximum point is 5, the minimum point is -5 for this case. And this is Yes. Okay. Now, at this point, when you have this thing in front of you, just remember one thing, that if you look at the usual graph of cos x, cos was 0 at pi by 2 and cos was 0 at 3 pi by 2. Okay. But if I again say that this is going to be pi by 2 and this is going to be 3 pi by 2, this is going to be incorrect now, because now we do not have the graph of cos x. This time around we have the graph of positive 2 minus 3 cos x. Okay, so one thing could be that you guys just do not add any values at this point, but if you want to do this, so you can just directly, yeah, we did it that way. Yes, so you can just refer to this part for that then. One second, it was start function directly. Okay, then if you certainly want to add some values, just equate it to 0 and then just make it look like an equation, simplify it, and then find the values of x. Okay, because this time around x is not pi by 2 and 3 by 2. And let me check the marking scheme. If we have start and finish at roughly same negative y value, okay, more above the x or below. Okay, but this is a 3-mark question. The first mark is basically, okay, the first mark is basically for that you need to label the x-axis, that is from 0 to 2 pi. Then the second mark is basically just to show that the graph is more above the x-axis and less below the x-axis. And then the last mark is basically, it says labels not required but must be appropriate if present. Okay, and last mark is for fully correct curves not line. Okay, so I'll tell you, this is something very, very important. At times, just for the sake of completeness, we just, add whatever we know. And if you will do that, and if that is wrong, you would not get any mark. The examiner has clearly mentioned that the labels are not required. Like, you are not supposed to label anything, as in you're not supposed to write down the x-intercepts. But if you want to write them down, then be very sure about it. And what is the best possible way? Just consider this as your equation. And when you will solve this equation, you would get to see that for which values of x exactly your equation is equal to 0, right? So then you can add those values. But for me, this is more than enough. This is correct. This part is correct. Just write it down this way. That the ending value is 2 pi because you were asked to make it between 0 and 2 pi, and this much information is correct. Okay. And why am I saying again and again that this won't work? Just use your calculators and just do 2 minus 3 cos at pi by 2, and this is going to give you 2, because now obviously now at pi by 2 this thing is going to be 2. It is not going to give you 0, right? That was old stuff. This is not going to happen over here again. Okay, so this is going to be the answer. Yes, any confusions with this?
Let's like, first we will make it 2 units up and then we will multiply them with the 3, right?
Sorry, say it again. With 3?
Yes, miss, because of 3 multiplying with the cos x.
Oh yeah, oh yes, you can also do it that. So you're saying that what you can do is that first, no wait, you're saying that first you can take this 2 units above and then multiply the y coordinates with 3?
Yes, miss.
You can also do it that
It's
way.
like
That's also
first
correct. But
I'll do the reflection.
yes, yes.
First I'll do the reflection and then I will take it 2 units above and then I will multiply each y coordinate with 3.
With 3. Okay, so let me check that first, because it seems like it would be incorrect. Wait one second. Because when I was explaining this chapter, I told you guys to just follow the BODMAS rules. This is what I am going to get. Something of this type after the reflection. And then you will move it 2 units above, right? So when you will, okay, I'll tell you where exactly it would go wrong. When you will move this 2 units above, this is the point, right? -1 would move to 1 and 1 would basically move to 3. This is what you would get,
Yes.
right, Rafe? Now look at it.
Yeah.
Now imagine, this is what I told you guys, that now when you will apply the stretch factor, it is only going to take it above. This time around, when I will like apply the stretch thing, it is going to be, this one would basically move to 3, and it's only going to stretch in the above direction because we do not have anything below the x-axis. So always remember, stretch and reflection has to be done first because it is multiplication, and according to BODMAS, multiplication comes first and then comes addition. This is something that I clearly explained during the lectures, if you remember. This is what you would get for this case, and this is what the correct graph is. When you will multiply this part with 3, how would you get something over here like this? Okay, we want something of this type. Are you getting
Okay.
this? So always remember, stretch and
Yes.
reflection has to be done first, and then we do. In some cases, I agree. In some, this is why I said yes, it would be correct. In some cases, this it can be correct. Okay, but this would not work in every case. When your graph would move above the x-axis, then when you will apply a stretch, it would only stretch in one direction. And to understand it best, imagine this is a elastic thread and it's nailed at these 2 points. Now when you will stretch it along the y-axis, it would go above, and when I will stretch this part, it would also come down, right? But if you have something that is nailed like this, and when you will stretch it above, it would only go in the above direction. So this is where things go wrong. So always remember, reflection has to be done and stretch has to be done first, because that is all about multiplying something. Okay.
Okay, miss.
All right. Mutasam and Munja, yes, you can ask me now if you have
Miss,
anything.
I have also one more thing.
Mhm.
Miss, we can do it like directly from the calculator, right? Like
Do what?
2 minus 3 cos 0, and then I'll do 2 minus 3 cos pi divided by 2, and then pi, and then 3 divided by 2 pi. It will give me the coordinates, right?
You are saying yes, you can do. Oh, I agree. You can use your calculator in order to find, even if someone is taking S1. So there's this probability distribution table and like normal distribution stuff. Even you can do that, all of that through your calculator. That is correct. That is correct until and unless the examiner did not ask for that extra information and you are doing it for the sake of completeness. If a question has 3 marks and if you're using your calculator entirely, you would not get any mark except the answer mark. For this part specifically, you can do that because I've read the marking scheme and the examiner does not require the x-intercept. So still, if you want to be sure about it and if you want to solve this equation through calculator, you can do that. But if that thing had marks and you did not show the working, that would be wrong. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Okay. All right. So any other question, Mutasam and Munja? Yes, your mics are mute. If you have anything, you can ask me.